Okay, the clock just ticked over to 12:15, so I'm going to go ahead and get started because there's a lot to show this month, and hopefully we'll get through it all in the half an hour. So the agenda the same as usual. The questions since the last meeting, bug updates since the last meeting, and this will be the second time in a row that we don't show those, that we just show pictures of them and we don't demo them live. Then we'll go through the feature updates since the last bugs, and those I will show, the tip of the month, and then just the reminder at the end for the education link. Questions that have come into our support team since the last bug. How do I delete a script we no longer need? To delete the scripts, you highlight one or multiple script, you right-click and select the change project, and then you click the deleted project. If you're looking to archive projects as opposed to delete them, so if you want to get back to them at some time in the future, you can create one or more archive project to house those as well. How do I add barcode images for armbands, labels, etc. to a script step? You just double click the script step and you choose the file and it will paste in when you save. Why do I not see any of my scripts and nothing qualified is displayed? In several places in TransIT, the filters are sticky, and so if you're somewhere and seeing nothing, then go to the right-click option on the blue header of the grid and select Remove All Filters. Why are my header details being re-added to my list after deleting them in the script? Header details get automatically updated by anything that you include in your script inside square brackets. So to remove them, you have to first of all delete the step that added them, and then you'll be able to delete them from the actual header. This one I put in a screenshot because I wasn't sure that people would understand what it was without the screenshot. Somebody asked what the difference was between this sequence column and the header sequence. This sequence column is just to order all of the header details within this page so that they're in an order that it makes sense to you. If you pull in default headers, they usually come in numbered starting at 10, but you can change them to be anything you want. This other column here is for determining what's going to show on the testing dashboard. If this column is completely blank, then what's going to show on the testing dashboard is the patient name. If you want something else to show there, so for example, if you're using an ERP script, something that doesn't have a patient in it, then all you need to do is choose the element that you want to show up and put a 1 in. If you want more than one element to show up, you just number them sequentially and they'll show in the number that you have here. So in this case, if this script is on a test dashboard, it's going to show the patient name followed by the FIN number. I think this is the last question for the week. What's the difference between the issues icon in the test round page and the issue icon, or sorry, the issue in the blue menu? The blue menu issues takes you to all of the issues for your organization, and the icon in a test round or from the test dashboard is only going to be those for that specific test round. Now we'll move on to fixes since the March meeting. In plans, we removed the ability to double click and update the status column. We removed the right-click change status from the options list as well. We fixed the filter and sort on the activity number column. We removed the blank value showing up when you right-click and change the assigned. For workflows, we fixed the end event text displaying in the script so that it does not display in the script. And we edited a workflow. Editing a workflow now updates the name inside the script. We fixed importing a workflow into a plan with existing activities in the plan. So previously, if you imported a workflow into a plan that had existing activities in it, it would intersperse them, and now it adds them at the bottom. Scripts, we fixed the filter not working on the application column, and we added remove all filters to the header details page. We fixed images not displaying correctly in a script step, so before they were crunched up and the text was crunched up beside them. We fixed filtering on the facility column on the test dashboard. we restored the functionality from a previous version of TransIT where scripts that were late, so scripts that had steps from a previous day, those rows have an indicator now in red on the left-hand side, and scripts that are falling behind and are in jeopardy of not being completed in a day, we returned the yellow icon for that. We changed the auto pop-up for fail skip actions when you create a test round or edit a test round to not be selected by default. For issues, we fixed the ability to change which project you want to default in when you log a new issue, and we fixed the bug causing the requested date to not display once you entered it. In org settings, we fixed importing users from Excel so that now you can select whatever you want the user type to be instead of them all defaulting to user. And we added vendor back to the position login page. So now I'll go through screenshots of all of those fixes. So here you can see, here's the status column. You used to be able to double click to change it, but it didn't work correctly because really if you want something to be in process, you have to have a % other than 0. So we removed the option for clarity. And again, we removed it from here. So there used to be a right click change status, and that's been removed. We added the ability to sort and filter on the activity number in plans. It used to be when you went in to change the assign, there was a little blank bubble here with an X in it. So that's now does not show up, so you don't need to remove it when you're adding an assign to. The end here used to show up in your test scripts if you pulled a workflow into a script, and it now does not. It used to be that if you changed the name of your workflow, either by editing it here or editing it from workflows, that it didn't update here in the title, and now it does. In scripts, you used to not be able to filter to the application inside that script, and now you can. And I believe it's also limited to only the applications that already exist in the script. Here's where now if you put a image, whether it's a barcode or whatever it is you're wanting to put in your script step, it now is no longer crunched up. So it's much easier to read. In testing, you can filter on the facility column. And here are our falling behind and late indicators that show in that left-hand column again. This is showing in both a scenario-based script and a functional script that you can either choose. Last time we showed that you could choose to auto force a pop-up for a fail or skip action, and we've changed it to be not defaulted to being on. So in other words, if you want to change it to be on, you just have to select it, and I believe it sticks round to round. This was used to work and then stopped working, is now working again. So if you want current state to be the default project when logging issues, all you have to do is change it. If you're working on a project doing several rounds of testing for that project, so a data migration project or whatever, you can come into the org settings and change what the default is that will show up on the issues. I'm not sure if people are using the requested date or not, but it was not displaying once added, and it's been fixed so that it's now displaying. And this is showing the user file. So if you were uploading from an Excel spreadsheet, it used to change them all to be users, and it now honors both the administrator and tester when you're doing the upload or the import. If we've returned vendor to the position login page. And so now I'll read through what all the new features are, and then I'll demo each of them, and hopefully we'll get done in time. In plans, we've added the ability to color columns. So I think we demonstrated last time the ability to color rows, and we now have the ability to color columns. For workflows, We've added a scripts column to the workflow dashboard to indicate which test scripts a workflow has been inserted into. We've added a audit log. There was an audit log previously, but it was very difficult to read. So it's now much more user-friendly and allows you to get back to previous versions of a workflow. We've added the ability to download any one of those previous workflows from that audit log to be able to get back to a previous version. We've added the ability to add multiple positions to a swim lane in a workflow. And we've added the ability to add comments and attachments to workflows. We've also added an edit button and a download image icon. So previously, every time you accessed a workflow, it was in edit mode. And we've changed that so that you have to specifically click the edit workflow before you get into edit mode. With regards to scripts, we added pop-ups when inserting a workflow with multiple positions in a swim lane. So if you have a swim lane in your workflow with 2 or 3 positions in it, it will ask you which one you want to choose when you insert it. And we've added the ability to view an image attached to a script. So basically that, and I'll show it in a minute, but the ability to pop it up and get a better look at the image. So if it was a policy and procedure document or whatever that you had an image of and you couldn't really read it in the text, the tester will be able to in real time open it up to a full screen view. We added the ability to remove an image from a script. With regards to issues, we added the created date column on the issue dashboard, and we added an AI search feature as well on the issue dashboard. We added the ability to create more than one bookmark, and we added or it should be added back, the ability to follow and unfollow issues. We also added in the review selected issues, we added bolding to show which the current issue is that you're on, and we added a scroll bar and next and previous icons. For org settings, we added a client level setting to choose what you want your forced logout time to be. So if you want that changed, you need to contact support to get it changed. So previously the logout time was 24 hours. We put in a forced logout time of an hour. And so I believe everyone is set to an hour now. So if you want that to be more generous or less generous, you have to log a ticket to support because it's not something you have access to yourself. And we added when you enter the wrong password, it now tells you how many attempts you've made at entering your password. Before I go in and start showing the changes, the tip of the month is around restoring a workflow from a previous version. So if you realize that you made changes to a workflow and you've left edit mode and you realize that you want to get back to that old version, you can restore the previous version using the export from XML function. And so the steps to do that are to click the edit workflow, click the workflow change icon to see your changes, find the version that you want to restore using the read-only view. And we'll see this when I'm demoing in a minute. And then click the download menu, download that XML, create a new workflow, upload that XML file, and then give it a new name, and then you can rename the file to be whatever you want it to be afterwards. So if I now go over to TransIT. So the first thing in plans is the ability to add colors to columns. Everyone knows that's not my favorite thing, but here's an example. So this is a RACI that somebody has created in a TransIT plan, and just to make it easier to read, added color to every other column. So to do that, you go to your custom columns, and there's now a column background color field, and all you have to do is go in and double click it. It'll give you a selection. So if I make this one purple, when I go back to my plan, it then becomes purple. So I'm not sure how many people are looking for that functionality, but that's how you do it. And then obviously, if you want to return it back to white, you would just go back in and double click it and change it back to white, and then it returns it. Moving on to the new functionality for workflows. We've added the script column, and it does the same as the script column does in modules, which is that it tells you whether the workflow has been added into any scripts or not. And if I click that, it'll take me and it'll just show me which script it's added in. If I go inside a workflow and go to edit, we were saying it was now a user-friendly changelog. So when I look inside here, you can see it shows who made the changes and on what dates they made the changes. And if you wanted to see what that version looked like, there's the before and the after. So here is what the before was. And this is where I was saying on the tip of the month, if you wanted to restore this one, because this was the correct one and what you added afterwards was incorrect, here's where you would download it to XML to be able to restore a previous version. You can see as well here, it says I added an attachment and before and what the attachment was that I added. The next thing then is the ability to add multiple positions to a swim lane. So in this one, if I wanted to add another position, all I do is I click the gear icon and I can put in, okay, this could also be the ambulance attendant or whatever it was that I wanted to add. And by adding these, as I said, when you add the workflow then to a test script, it's going to ask you to choose which one you want. There's now the ability to add comments and attachments. To click this comment icon, it's going to pull out this pane from the right-hand side. One of the tabs is comments, the other one is attachments. If you want to add an attachment, you go here. If you want to add a comment, you go here. Not currently, but in the future, there's a request to pull this from outside the edit mode so that if you've got people who you don't want to be editing your workflow, they'll still be able to see this when they're not in the edit mode. We also added the download image icon. So if you want to download an image, and I'll tell you that's changing probably within the next month as well, we'll have an ability to also do a PDF, but the PDF is not available this month. Okay, moving on to scripts. So if I go to this script here and I want to add a workflow and I choose a workflow that has multiple positions in the, well, first of all, it's going to go through and ask me to answer my decisions. Oops. Once I get through my decisions, it's going to ask me to choose the position. So it's telling me that I added that ambulance attendant. Do I want paramedic or ambulance attendant? And I can just choose which one I want. And when I click save and save again, it will choose the position that I chose in the swim lane. So down here, instead of it being the paramedic, it now says ambulance attendant. So while I'm in this script, you can see here I've added the image, and this is where I said, if you click the image, it'll go to a full screen image. So if this was instead a policy and procedure document or something else that you couldn't see in this view, it's just as simple as clicking that. You also have the ability to download the image from here. Additionally, if you double click here, you now have the ability to remove that from your step. Saving it then finally removes it. Moving on to changes for issues. The created date column is now in the issues dashboard. If it doesn't show up for you, you need to right click, go to columns and turn it on, because if you've saved other favorites in here, they're sticky. So again, if there's columns that you're not sure why they're not showing up, all you have to do is come here and tick or untick them, and they should stay until you make changes. We added an AI search function, and so it's searching the title and the description field. So if I wanted to know any issues that talked about domain, then I can click search and it'll go out and it'll search the database and it'll come back and show me all of the issues that had domain in them. We've added the ability to add more than one bookmark here, and they're available in this drop-down list. Everyone will automatically have the following list created for them. In a future release, there's also going to be the assigned to me one automatically added. To build a bookmark, you just go here and you say you want to give it a name. So and if you want to choose the statuses, so if I only care about the open ones, then I can save that, and then I can say it's assigned to me and save the view. The thing about this button here is that it's always going to show as the default the last one you created. That will also be changed in the future. But if there's one you use all the time, you want to make sure that it's the last one, or it's the last one that you added. So since this is the last one I added, it will persist as my default. We did add the ability to follow and unfollow issues. So if I go in and choose several issues, when I select them, I can choose follow issues. And then if I go to my following list, it will bring up those issues that I chose. And then we also added the ability to unfollow issues. So when I unfollow those and go to my following list again, then there's nothing on it. I'm not sure how many people are using the view selected issues. It's really, really good when you're in a round of testing or that sort of thing, when you're reviewing your priority issues, etc. So why don't I go there and show that? So if you wanted to review all of these, you can click the first one, shift click the last one, right click and do review issues. And it brings up this pane that allows you to review them without having to manually open each one. And so what we added this month was, you can see the one I'm on is bolded and underlined and it has a dot beside it. You can go to the previous issue by clicking the previous button, or go to the next issue by clicking the next button. So it just makes it much easier to review all of your issues. The last changes then are in org settings. So only for those admin people, there is a setting, like I said, that changes the forced logout time. It doesn't actually display here for you, so I won't show that today. But again, reminder, if you do want to change yours, so your organization is set for 1 hour right now. If you want that to be more or less generous than that, you have to, you just have to contact our support team. So the other thing that's associated to org settings, if I log out here and I go to sign back in and I put in the wrong password, it now shows you unable to log in, 4 attempts remaining. So before it just said unable to log in, and when you were at no logins left, it would tell you that you were locked out for whatever is set in your org settings. But now it tells you 4 attempts remaining, and if I try again, 3 attempts remaining, 2 attempts remaining, and so on. So hopefully some of the things I showed today are things that you were either waiting for or that you think will be useful for your organization. I did already go over the tip of the day, so we do have a few minutes left if anybody has any questions. There are lots of new features and functions coming in the next month or two. So please do continue to join these meetings, or if you're not available, remember that after the meeting is finished, we do post the entire video on our website. Thanks, everybody, and I hope everyone has a happy Easter.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thank
Patty.
you.
Happy
Happy
Easter.
Easter.
Thank you.